Hi guys. So I wanted to jump on today because I've realised that I've been a little bit stagnant in terms of getting some content out there for you guys to listen to and sort of act on. And truth be told, the reason being is if anybody has seen my content that I put up previously on my healing journey with anorexia, I've pretty much been doing that behind the scenes. Obviously, I've been sort of working and putting myself out there in terms of the work that I'm doing, but a lot of my energy is being reflected on going through the emotions of my healing. And it's been really beneficial in some sense because it's enabled me to have a lot of information come up that I've been working through and working towards. So that's where I've been. But I felt it was time for me to sort of put myself back out there and bring you some messages today, because my guides have not been nagging at me, but they tend to sort of be quite insistent when they want me to talk about certain subjects. And one area that they're specifically wanting me to talk about today is exercising our discernment and honing our intuition, and what that looks like, and how we can all incorporate it into our day-to-day life, and why it's important to do so. And I feel like the reason that they're wanting me to talk on this subject is because right now, more so than ever, there is an awareness that a lot of people are navigating themselves away from listening to their intuition and exercising their discernment, whether that be in their individual life or whether that's from a collective level. And it's right now that it's actually really prominent that we get to that point of really starting to hone that ability to listen to our intuition and listen to our discernment when it comes to situations unfolding in our life, or from a collective level when we've got sort of lots of influences going on the outside. So many people have the capacity to give their power away to situations that they're going through. And what I mean by that is that we may have a situation going on in our life, and rather than looking inside for the answers, we have found ourselves in a habit of looking outside for the answers. Speaking to friends about it, speaking to family about it, going to people like myself. And I don't want to put myself out of a job in terms of that sense, but coming to people like myself and sort of hanging on every single word that someone like myself might say, or looking to sort of the media or social media influencers, celebrities, and from that space giving your power away so that you're almost having your life unfold in front of you through somebody else's hand and through somebody else's word, rather than actually going within and acknowledging what is intuitively right for us. And sometimes in doing so, that's why we find ourselves sometimes in a path that isn't necessarily right for us, because we're giving that power away. And right now as well, it's really prominent to talk about it because there is so much going on in the world right now in terms of governments failing us, healthcare systems failing us, a lot of sort of structures that were currently in place, or previously in place, should I say, that have started to shift and change. And it's almost creating this feeling of collective chaos energy that I know a lot of us, especially those who have considered themselves to be light workers or empaths, they're feeling it a lot more right now because there's a lot of collective energy that we're all sitting within. And there are so many influences on the outside that could navigate us away from that internal compass. The influences of things like AI, how much out there is actually truth and how much of it is not authentic. And so when it comes to our individual path and that sort of collective path, right now more than ever, the message is about getting into that space of honouring and actioning and feeling into your own discernment and connecting to your intuition more so than ever. And what I mean by that is, it's absolutely by all means, if you feel that you would like to sort of look outside of yourself for the answers, or connect with individuals when you've sort of got a situation that's weighing on your head, or you're questioning something going on in your world and you're looking outside for some kind of direction when it comes to that, absolutely by all means, there's this feeling of you wanting to sort of connect in that level, but taking that information away, whatever it might be. So it could be that you've got going on in your life, do I want to stay in this relationship? Do I want to stay in this job that I'm in? And a lot of us will have a moment where we might sort of consider speaking to our friends about it, speaking to our family about it, coming to a psychic and having that conversation with ourselves. And whilst it's important that we should allow other influences to be involved in certain areas of our life, it's remembering that we shouldn't give our power away to them to allow us to navigate our path forward. And how do we do that? So in those moments, it's remembering that we have that opportunity to reconnect to our intuition. The reason that so many of us have become disconnected from our intuition and our discernment is we've been so conditioned to live in a world that takes the power away from us. And so we've continued to navigate it forward by doing exactly that. But we want to be in a position that we're remembering that that power is within us, and the answers that we are seeking and needing is always within us. We have an internal compass. For anybody who has, I'd be very surprised if somebody hasn't come across the term listening to your gut instinct. So your gut is commonly referred to as almost like your second brain, and it is a hub of hugely powerful wisdom and knowledge that holds almost the blueprint of your soul's path in this lifetime. And so when we've had those experiences where we've felt something so strongly in our gut, it is usually because it's an instinctual knowing of the answers that we're seeking, that we generally seek outside of ourselves. So what we're wanting to do in these moments when we are looking for a path forward and we're maybe navigating some difficult situations in our life, or we're just simply sort of questioning certain areas of our life, is to, instead of looking outside of ourselves in those moments, going within and reconnecting to that part of ourselves that innately knows the answers already, and starting to do that on a more regular basis, and allowing yourself to exercise that discernment through that feeling, allowing yourself to feel within you whether a situation, a person, an experience feels right, or if it feels detrimentally wrong for you. We all individually know. How many of us have had experiences in the past where we have had an instinct about a situation, a person? We've felt red flags about a certain environment. I've done it myself. Considering the line of work that I'm in, I've done it myself, because we all have that experience where we have to sort of have those moments of going against our intuition. Sometimes that's where lessons are learned, but sometimes it's a little bit easier if we actually listen to our instincts in the first instance, so that we can navigate on ourselves on the path that is considered more the higher path of our soul in this lifetime. And so we've had those moments where we have those instinctive knowings about a person, a situation, that we may think, oh, this person's not going to, they're not going to serve me for whatever mean. We may not get complete confirmation as to why, but there's just an innate knowing that there's a red flag when it comes to that area. And yet we go against that. And as that sort of plays out, we get a confirmation. So we've all had those experiences. But it's remembering, okay, well, if I've had those experiences that have highlighted that to me in the past, then I need to take an acknowledgement that I can trust that inner knowing, that instinct that I'm receiving in terms of guidance, and reconnecting with that part of ourselves. And again, the reason why it's being highlighted is more prominent now, more than ever, is that we are moving over the next couple of years, certainly, into a very curious time for humanity, should I say. I'm trying to look for the right words to sort of use. But we're moving into sort of quite uncertain times. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of speculation about things happening in the world around us. And it's leading people into this position of looking outside for the answers. And there are a lot of individuals that are like myself are stepping up and sort of giving that insight and giving that knowledge and giving that information. And it's wonderful, but at the same time, it can be incredibly confusing for people on their individual path. And in those moments, we are giving so much power away, negating the fact that we have so much power within us already. And so the message really is to just remember that you have the capacity within you to have all the answers that you need for your path moving forward. But what you have to do is find yourself in a position to connect to that part of you that already knows. And it can feel alien at first for people who don't do that on a daily basis. For someone who has been so is brought up in a way that they have just learned to look outside for themselves, or put people up on a pedestal in terms of them having more knowing and awareness of how they should be living their life. But it's really prominent for you to have that awareness that right now it's not only relevant in your individual path to understand how to connect your intuition and how to exercise that discernment, but it is so beneficial and relevant for the path that we're moving forwards in terms of humanity and where things are panning out and unfolding in the next couple of years. And that's why I feel it's really important and prominent for me to talk about this right now. So how do we go about holding our intuition, exercising our discernment? And what does that look like on a day-to-day life? Okay, so it doesn't mean that we're necessarily dismissing people's opinions and people's ideas and people's influence on certain areas of our life and interacting with them and you know, maybe speaking to a friend of, you know, should I actually approach that relationship? Should I consider taking this situation further with this man, with this woman? It doesn't mean that we suddenly cut everybody off and only consider ourselves in those moments. Absolutely, there'll be opportunities that you would maybe want to involve other people's insights and knowledge, because from that we can actually receive intuitive knowing that what they're saying is right and what they're saying is wrong. But in those moments, we're remembering that we are using it as an opportunity to hone into our own intuition. If we have a friend who has given us guidance on a job that they may be suggesting that we go for, and it doesn't feel right for us in any way, then it's remembering, okay, well, they've given me that insight, but I don't have to go for it. I don't have to do what they're telling me to do. I just have to listen to that instinct within me, that feeling within me, and allow myself to discern from that moment where I want to go moving ahead. And it's allowing yourself to just reconnect to that part of yourself that you may have drowned out in the past. And again, this is why it's so important when it comes to how the world is going to unfold and expand in the next couple of years, in terms of the information that may be coming into our field of awareness. Really honing your intuition and exercising that discernment right now is going to be really paramount in how things unfold over the next couple of years. So it's just understanding, what does my intuition feel like? What does my gut instinct feel like when it's showing up in a situation for me? How does it show up in my body? Do you get that feeling of excitement and joy when there's a situation that you are questioning and thinking, oh, do I go for that new job? Is that the right thing for me? Is that do I go down that path? And if you've got this feeling of excitement and joy and that sort of emotion behind it, that could be an indication that that's your intuition telling you to move in that direction. You could be questioning, oh, do I want to go on a date with this guy? Is that going to be something that I want to move towards? And you're getting a feeling of ickiness and like something that doesn't feel that it resonates with you. Maybe looking into that and thinking, maybe that's something telling me not to go for that. Maybe it's because there's somebody else around the corner, and actually me going on a date with this person is going to take me down the wrong direction, and maybe they're going to be a bit like my ex, and I'm glad I moved away from that situation. So it's just remembering in those moments and reconnecting with that part of you that is telling you and giving you all the answers all along, and just really strengthening that inner knowing, that instinct. It's like I said, it's more than anything, it's like a muscle, because we've been so conditioned out of connecting to that part of ourselves for such a long time, in the society that we've sort of built ourselves up in, that it's always within us, it's always there, it never leaves us. It is that higher part of ourselves that has all the answers and all the knowing for our path moving forward. But we just drown it out and we turn it down. But it's the opportunity to sort of turn it up and listen to it a little bit more, to allow you to navigate yourself forward with much more ease and much more clarity. Another benefit, or another way that we can actually, allow ourselves to connect more strongly to our intuition and to hear it with more clarity, is to really focus on those parts of yourself that maybe you're looking to work to heal at this point in time. So whether that's in a child healing that you're looking at, if there's certain areas in your life that you have been pushing to the side, thinking, oh, I'll deal with that later, but there's something that keeps coming up as a remembrance of you needing to focus on that. And specifically, so for myself right now, as we discussed at the start of the video, that right now I'm going through that process of healing from anorexia. And it's something that I've pushed to the wayside for a very long time. But now it's becoming quite prominent that I go through this process. And as we move through the levels of healing over the years, what we do there is that old analogy that comes up, and I'm sure you've heard it before, is we peel back the layers of baggage that we've been carrying for such a long time that kind of drowns out that direct connection with ourselves, who we are at the core. And when we move through those layers of healing, we come to a space of clarity, and we become a much clearer channel to reconnect with that inner part of ourselves that isn't influenced and giving their power away to influences and energies from outside of us. And so it's working through those areas that you are ready to heal and sort of taking baby steps through those. If there's a situation that keeps showing up in your life and you're thinking, why am I going around this situation again? Why do I have these, people showing up in my life that are treating me this way? Or why do I keep going for jobs that aren't working out? Or why do I seem to have a block with money coming to me? It's, again, using those opportunities to reconnect your intuition, because those answers that you're seeking around those things will be found inside. And it's almost like a win-win situation there, because then not only are you working through the process of healing what you need to heal on the outside, but you're actually using your intuition and you're exercising your discernment in those moments to understand why you're going through those processes. If you've got a situation that's going on the outside and it seems to be consistently playing over, then it's certainly a lesson that you came here to learn and overcome. But the reason it's showing up consistently in your life is because you haven't yet learned that lesson. And so when we ask ourselves those questions of why is it continuing to happen to me, then we sort of get a bit more clarity. Why do I keep having these individuals that keep showing up on my path that take advantage of me? Okay, well, why is it within you that they're taking advantage of you? Is it because you are sitting with feelings of low self-esteem, low self-worth, feelings of lacking in self-love? And if it's those areas, then you look at that and go, okay, well, what can I do to incorporate healing in those parts of my life? Could it be that you could work to bring in affirmations into your day-to-day life? Is there certain ways that you can treat yourself better? Could you be sitting and doing mirror work and speaking the words that you're needing to hear that you haven't been telling yourself? Removing those sort of like false belief systems that we build up for ourselves by the way that we speak to ourselves, or by the way that we perceive ourselves to be. That is not the truth. It's just a belief system that we've been conditioning ourselves to believe up until this point. And so it's working with those sort of processes as well. And as we go through that process of healing and clearing parts of ourselves that aren't serving us anymore, we become more connected to that intuitive part of ourselves, and we have more clarity in what that feels like within us. Another area that we can work with when it comes to connecting to your intuition and exercising discernment is through meditation. Meditation is hugely beneficial to allow ourselves to come into that space of clarity, sitting in that power of our own energy. When we come to sort of do work, like psychic work or mediumship work, it's coming into a space of understanding who we are at the core, knowing thyself, and knowing what our energy feels like, good or bad, so that when we go into a setting where we're reading for someone psychically or we're connecting with loved ones in spirit, that we are able to discern, again, it's that energy of discernment, what is my energy and what is the energy of the person I'm reading for, or what is the energy of the spirit person that I'm connecting with. It's being able to know yourself, feel in those moments, who am I at the core of my being, and really getting in tune with that and being able to distinguish what that feels like, to disconnect it from the energy of the world outside of us, and being able to hone that to such a point that it becomes the focal point actually of your path moving forward. It becomes that thing that you listen to navigate you moving forward. There's some really good tools that you can look out for on, I'm sure there's plenty when you sort of search on here on YouTube or on other sort of channels, that is called sitting in the power. And that's bringing yourself into a space where you're sitting in a space of meditation, but doing so where you are bringing in the energy to sit in the core of your being. So you get a real good feel for what it feels like to sit in your energy, so that when you are feeling disconnected or ungrounded from that because of things going on in the world around you, it's being able to come back into that space, feeling that core strength, and then being able to utilize that to discern the world around you, to get the insight and the intuitive nudges and guidance that you're needing and seeking. And so it's also showing up for yourself in those moments where maybe you have got a situation going on around you that you are seeking clarity on, seeking guidance on, maybe coming to myself as a psychic or a medium, maybe going to friends, maybe going to family, and having that opportunity to receive guidance and information, but allowing yourself to come away from that situation to reflect on the information that you've received and to sit with it and just see what feels right for you, and just practicing that more consistently on a daily basis, so that you get to the point that you see how connecting to your intuition and allowing that to guide you works out for you. Because I guarantee that when you start to implement that more and more on your on a day-to-day basis and in your daily life, that you'll see that life becomes more flowing, and there's a feeling of less resistance. When we try and force things into being and on our path, it can feel like we're going uphill. It's like an uphill struggle, or you're like trying to sort of push upstream, and it's very exhausting and very tiring when we try and do that. When we're in that path of least resistance and almost surrendering to the flow of the energy, it's not because we're giving up control and handing control over to a higher power. It could sometimes be that, and that can be a really powerful place to be in. But sometimes it's because we're listening to our intuition and knowing, okay, well, in this moment, I just need to let go of control, and I just need to trust the path that is being laid ahead of me, and just navigate myself through the feelings that I'm getting to move forward. And that's really what intuition is. It's those intuitive nudges, those feelings that you get about a situation, the feeling that you get about a person, a feeling that about a job that you may be considering going for, and using that as your power to move yourself forward in life. And like I said, that doesn't just necessarily work when it comes to your individual path, but it really is for that collective path ahead of us as well. Because the insight that I'm receiving, and it might be something that I'll go on about in another video coming up, is that the next couple of years are going to be a little bit rocky in terms of how things play out. So really honing and exercising your intuition and your discernment right now is really important to do so. And I just wanted to share that message with you today, guys. If there's any questions you'd like to ask me, pop them in the comments. If you've not subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe and give my channel a like. And if there's anybody that you want to share it with, but more than anything, just get out there, practicing connecting to your intuition, exercising your discernment, and just see how life unfolds for you. Cheers, guys. Bye.